Nostalgia has its limits, everybody. It has its limits, even for Gen Xers and cusp Gen Xers here that live and breathe nostalgia like it's air. There are limits. And I do believe tonight we've found those limits. Welcome to another episode of A Dangerous Podcast. I am your host, Ian Alley Seals, here with my fellow fearless co-host compatriots, Jules, John, Jason. How are you doing, brothers? That well. Yeah, I know how you all feel. And we're well into 20 weeks of this podcast so far. Mm-hmm. And we've watched some pretty bad movies. We've gone through a lot together, but who just watched Garbage Pail Kids? Who just did?
You know, for the first time, we watched a garbage movie that actually has the word garbage in the title.
That's a good point. I'm a little shell-shocked. I'm a little rocked. But we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this.
All right. Now that we all watched it, and we've also watched a Kirk Cameron movie, are we happy that we watched this instead of really still?
Yes. I am. Now, first of all, okay, everybody, here we are at A Dangerous Podcast, and this is not the first time this has happened. So what we do, if you're just tuning in right now, is our mission statement isn't terrible movies. It ends up being terrible movies, but we come together every week and we watch a movie that time forgot, usually for good reasons. And, well, John, when it's his turn to choose the movie, kind of likes to give a Sophie's choice. And he gave it to Jason to choose. And it was a three-part, right? The movies we could have chosen were Andy Warhol's Sleep, which is an art film. And we're in no way qualified to talk about art films here.
That's why I didn't pick that one.
Okay. Still a film.
2 was Kirk Cameron,
qualified.
Fireproof. And 3 was what was the third? Actually, it wasn't Garbage Pail Kids. What was it? It was what was
also tied to religion. Battlefield Earth.
Battlefield Earth, that's right.
I didn't pick that one when I was given the choice because that one has already been kind of known about and covered and talked about and was the laughing stock of the internet for a while. And between the three choices, I picked Fireproof just because that seemed the most obscure but also doable. Yeah, I'm still glad we switched to Garbage Pail Kids. I'm really glad.
I don't fault you for that. I don't fault you for your choice there. I think that I understand the choice and I respect the choice. But as which has happened many times, John had some second thoughts. So, John, please walk us through this. We're not doing.
It's very simple. I'll walk it through.
We're not doing Kirk Cameron's Fireproof today. We did 1987's Garbage Pail Kids. John, explain why the switch.
It's going to be a very easy. We're walking away. All right. Hopefully, you can still hear me. No, it's very easy. So when I'm doing the show, I like to have a couple of drinks, and by the end of the show, when we're picking the movie, I'm shit-faced, and so, and then I sober up during the week, and I'm like, "Are we gonna watch another Kirk Cameron movie?" Honestly, I really like Kirk Cameron movies. But go ahead.
So what you're saying is, generally the day after the podcast, you have your own Coyote Ugly moment with the film that you chose. Which would be interesting if you actually chose the film Coyote Ugly at some point and then have that experience.
Coyote Ugly is too good for us. That's too good of a film for what you do.
So listen, we're
really more into that. I got to explain myself more. I was also fearing Gunarso. I was fearing his wrath. He's going to give me a lot of shit. You know what? I picked 2 Neil Breen movies, like 6 weeks apart. He gave me a bunch of shit for that. And then it was just like, I just kind of had a conversation with myself. I was like, hey, John, other people probably don't enjoy watching Kirk Cameron movies as much as you do. I love them. I'll watch them all day. But, Garbage Pail Kids is one I wanted to do for a while, and it's something I can relate to, and I grew up on. And just kind of,
stop,
it fits in
stop
the whole
for a second.
geek culture.
John, stop for a second, because everyone, can we come together? John is suddenly living the Jason syndrome. John has brought a film from his youth that meant a lot to him.
Well, it's not. No, the film isn't from my youth. No, okay. I've never seen this movie. I did collect Garbage Pail Kids.
Okay.
And I think we need to explain that before we get into what the fuck, because millennials don't know what the fuck Garbage Kids are.
And we cannot talk about
the Pokemon cards of our generation.
Now, Jules, before we even got into this, I mean, every week, Jules tries to tell me, to no avail, don't try to recap the movie. Just don't. And I mean, that cuts a little quick to me because that's literally my whole job on this podcast. And I realize I'm not qualified to do it. But I do take it almost seriously. I mean, not serious enough to take notes or anything like that, or prepare in a way that will make this podcast palatable or in any way coherent, but I do enjoy the job. So it hurts a little time every time Jules says that, but I also know it's true. Like, we can't just recap these stupid movies the way we do all the time, yet we always do. And by we mean me. So tonight, Jules, I'm going to really attempt to not give this movie the time.
But you know what, Jules, I was giving you an out. I mean, I that's one of the reasons I threw in Sleep. How's he going to recap Sleep? I wanted to see him try. That would have been fun. Andy Warhol's Sleep is just a guy sleeping in black and white for 6 hours.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
I wanted to see Ian try to walk us through that.
Before we get into this, everybody, first of all, good to see everybody here. Good to get everybody together in this virtual space. How you guys doing today? John, what's your sobriety level right now?
Oh, I'm a solid 2.
All right. Good for you.
I mean, if blackout drunk was a 1, I'm a no, I'm a solid 2 with blackout drunk being 10. No, I'm totally good. I'm doing all right. I went over Jason's house yesterday, and recorded some bass for his music that he wants me to play note for note, and I was there for a while, and then way past my bedtime, and I'm still tired today. But I did see his machine that mines for cryptocurrency, and it's spectacular. You guys, if you've never seen one of these things, it's not even a computer. It's just like this big tech thing.
There's circuit boards and equipment on it.
It looks like a monster from hell from the future. I mean, it's just like, right, how many, it's all of these graphic cards on it.
What's that?
It's a monstrosity is what it is. But yeah, I mean, that's how Jason's living, man. He is just, he's got robots serving him. It's just tech gear everywhere. It's crazy.
He's mining fake money from the digital earth. So
don't
Jules,
get us into that conversation, because we're going to start talking back how real money isn't real money.
Oh,
because that seems to be the clapback to it.
Mine.
Yeah. Right, Jules?
Right there. Telling me we're not backed by the gold standard anymore?
Not we're by the gold standard anymore.
That's really what did in Ernst von Blofeld, and Goldfinger himself. Like once we were off the gold standard, pretty much all James Bond villains retired. They're like, that's our entire plan. Like everything we had was based on this idea, and now we're done. Hey Jen, the comment was, what's the movie this week? Oh, Jen, you snooze, you lose. It's Garbage Pail Kids, and it's coming up. We're just stalling because we don't want to do this. None of us want to talk about this, but we're going to. So, Jules, how you doing, man?
I want to talk about it.
Just fine.
Excellent.
Just fine.
Yeah.
Way to know a guy right there.
Well,
there you go.
The movie did. It really did.
You have to
it took a lot of
emotionally bleed all over the audience. That's part of being part of a show.
No,
you got to keep some things behind, okay?
In the update of things, Jules and I did a bunch of editing on the movie last night. Our car film, The Stolen Mile, where we pretty much did the unsexy task of cataloging footage, just going through cataloging all the car footage, describing it so that we can get this damn movie done. And then also, it's not a secret that both Jules and I work at a movie theater of the art variety, which is real. And so we got some serious movie stuff to deal with tonight. There's a movie that's starting tomorrow that is not working. So after this podcast, we're going to have to figure out how to do that. So I'm speaking for Jules. We're having a pretty stressful day.
You're out of work soon, though, buddy. You're a teacher.
I am a teacher, and I'm going to be done in a few weeks, and then just focusing on other jobs. So yeah, but Jules, I'm feeling good about the movie. I'm feeling good about the footage cataloging. So I'm going to say one thing. Like 16 years ago when we started this movie, I mean, it's not 16 years ago, but it was a long time ago. We had gotten a bunch of great, really cool cars that we had, just shot on the Berlin Turnpike doing stunts and stuff like that. And one of the best car, by far the best car we got, was an Aston Martin. It's just this gorgeous black Aston Martin. And Jules, you got to ride in the car.
I did.
What was that like? Tell the studio audience what it was like.
Well, I think as that Aston Martin owner understood, this was one of the few times he had an excuse to be an idiot in it. And so he did. So I was sticking my head through the window. My head barely fit through the window, by the way. I have a large head, but not that large, typically in an automobile. I was hanging out the side with a selfie stick with a camera phone on it, and was trying to get like footage of like the tires speeding around and that kind of thing. And he really floored it.
I gotta say that Aston Martin footage looks really good.
Yeah.
One of the things, which is when you were getting the side of the car, it is so reflective. Like the surface of the Aston Martin, when filmed, is a mirror. You literally could just see every detail of the street and surroundings just reflected off the surface of this car. It was incredible. We've shot a lot of cars.
Yeah, none of them look like that because Aston Martins have 7 coats of paint. They've got 4 coats of paint and 3 like gloss coats or something.
It was unbelievable. The only other car we have that was nearly as reflective was the Nissan Z, which that footage looks pretty good too. So that's what we did last night. But enough stalling.
Was the Aston Martin the guy who came with 2 girlfriends?
Yes, as he should. Yes, it was.
As he should. So we got this guy to come shoot for the movie. Somebody met at Real Artways, right? And you saw he had an Aston Martin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was working. Yeah. I saw that out in the parking lot, and I was like, "Holy shit, we gotta get this immediately!"
Holy. Yeah. So what a cool guy! I mean, he's like, "Hey, we filmed at 6 a.m. on Sunday," and he fucking came out.
He was great.
He shows up with 2 girlfriends. Like, he doesn't buy. How much is that car worth, Jules? Anybody know? I have no idea.
I don't know either.
Yeah, but it is by
say $100,000
car in the film. It's by far
you don't buy $100,000 car. If he has, Jen Holmes wants to know if he needs a third. I'm sure he does.
I'll get him your. I do have his number.
He didn't spend all that money on a car so he can limit his girlfriend to 2. She's got his number. But the funniest thing for me is when this guy shows up in his Aston Martin, and the job that Ian had for him as the director, he doesn't know. He's going to come there, and they probably think we're going to do all this profile shots of the car, and it's going to whiz by, and it's going to do all this thing. You know what we needed him for? Scion XB could pass him out in the race.
Dented ding.
Ian isn't picking up on him, and I think he's giving some attitude. I pulled him aside. I said, Ian, do you realize this guy comes out with his girlfriends at 6 a.m. and you as a director are like, all right now we need you. What's going to happen in this scene is your car is going to lose to a Scion XB.
Not just a Scion XB.
In front of your 2 girlfriends.
Also a Datsun. The Datsun, like that's another thing.
But the
Datsun's cool. The Datsun's a really cool car. But yeah, the Aston Martin really gets blown away. In this
everything's
film,
beating this guy.
Like Anthony Lisi, who is
Guido had that.
Oh yeah, Guido Anthony Lisi, who did most of the stunt driving in this film, and whose Black Impala is the villain car in the film. He cannot get over the fact. He just cannot get past the fact that, one, his car ends up losing in the film, and that it seemingly loses to the Scion. He cannot ever get past it.
When I hang out with him sometimes, every once in a while he brings up he can't believe there was a scene where he got passed by the Taurus.
Wait.
It's kind of the rule on the set. It's like the faster your car is, the more you get passed out by the other shittier cars.
Yeah, but wait, Jules.
There's a very, very good logical reason why this is happening, and it's because we have the shitty cars, so we can film those. Okay, anytime we want, we can just go out there and film them. These people with the 2 or 3 or 4 girlfriends and so forth, we can't rely on them to show up every day. So
if you want to make your Aston Martin more available to us, sir, I'm sure we can find one car it could.
I'll rewrite the movie right now. I'll rewrite it right now, especially if I can drive the car.
No, I was just fantasizing in my head. Now that we talked about the Aston Martin, I'm fantasizing about having very far away like CGI of like the Aston Martin being like driven off the road, so that we have an explanation as to why it didn't win the race.
Yeah. Albert just said, I was genuinely sad when the Datsun went away. Don't ask me why, but I kind of thought the Datsun was cool. There's a reason why.
The Datsun didn't go away. The Datsun didn't go away. It changed its name. It's Nissan, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're still around. They're making the Leaf now, Albert. That's don't worry. They're still around. They just named the Nissan, and now they're making the Leaf.
Yeah.
Jen Holmes, I have a shitty car. I'll beat the Aston Martin.
Yes, Jen.
Where were you?
And by the way,
when we needed you, Jen Holmes.
Everybody, I'm putting a call out to all of our listeners. There's one specific car that we need. Jason, what car do we still need to shoot?
Very special car.
Jason, what car did you lose that we need?
Apparently, according to your script, we still need more 2006 Taurus shots.
Silver 2006 Ford Taurus. If you or anyone you know has a silver 2006 Ford Taurus, please contact us. We need it to finish this feature film. It's not a joke. At no point am I exaggerating. We really need it.
Yeah, after filming the scenes with my Taurus, the engine failed, and I had to, get rid of it.
There you go. Which happened to a lot of cars in this film.
I mean,
why? We've been filming for 16 years. Sorry, John, what were you saying?
Well, wait. Let's say we find a car like that. Doesn't it need to still look like his? It has to be the same color. It's got to have the same. Silver. I mean, he's got signs on the doors.
No, John. We just need like really extreme close-ups of junk. Like, it doesn't need to match. Not perfectly. But anyway, guys, we've stalled long enough. We're 19 minutes in.
You know what I'm going to say here?
What's that?
Can we get stock footage of it? All right. Let's get to the trailer.
Stock footage of
I'd love to, Jen.
Jen, if you want to donate $50 for $50, we'll
car and I'll do it. All right,
Jen, you'll get a producer credit. Jen is also complaining she wasn't invited. She's in the fucking movie. She's in the movie, Once you're in the movie, stick around and we'll use your car.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah. All right.
The problem we're having is this movie has taken 18 years to film, and people tend to get new cars once every 18 years. That's our biggest problem. People can keep their cars for 25 years.
Or we shatter the windshield in the case of Anthony's.
Or we jump to a new project with green screen. But I regress.
Okay. So.
All right. So before we start, can I talk to you, Ian? I want to address something that happened on the show a few weeks ago. Because I mean, are you mad at me? And I want to talk about one specific incident.
I'm always mad at you, John. No.
I thought you were. All right. So there was a moment I thought we had a few weeks ago, and we were talking about Superman, and I was just giving my thoughts on Superman, how he's not super, and he's definitely not a man. And this is on video, so we can go back and watch. When I was saying this, it was like the life was being drawn out of you. Like
no. Like, okay, John, I'm going to tell you why. I am mad at you about stuff, but not that. That's not what I thought you were going to talk about. But like, in terms of the Superman thing, like, first of all, like, I am so bored to tears with debating Superman shit with people. Like, I can go toe-to-toe about Superman any day of the week, and if we want to do that on the podcast, we can. First, those 2 points you made, I actually don't disagree with. There is nothing supernatural about Superman. He is a alien being who is responding to the physics and chemistry of the realm he's in. I have problems. Well, I don't want to get into it. I don't want to talk about Superman. Not here. Let's set up our own.
All right, we don't have. Okay. Like, we'll have our own episode of that. I just want to finish in this. I don't want.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't want Elon Musk going to Mars when he does going to Mars, and fucking referring to himself as Super Martian. That's it.
Yeah,
we can drop it. We can all agree on that.
All right, so let's talk about Garbage Pail Kids. First of all, we're going to talk about the object that was the inspiration for this film. Garbage Pail Kids were trading cards.
Did anyone collect them? Other than me?
I did.
Collect them?
Well, I was always into sports cards, and the big company for sports cards was Topps, and Topps also made Garbage Pail Kids. So, like, if you were into sports cards and you were into Topps, you just kind of found your way into that anyway.
You know what the first funny part of this movie was?
What's that?
You know what the first funny part of this movie? Because it's at the very beginning. It said a Topps chewing gum production. Like kind of Hollywood players now. Because
I'm going to start with a personal story that I have, and then we're going to kind of move into the general notion of Garbage Pail Kids. So when I was in high school, I was making a documentary about comic books, just like in general, like the history of comic books and things like that. It was terrible. I was in no way qualified, but it was novel at the time. Like, people in the late 80s, early 90s didn't really do stuff like that. So, and Marvel and all comic book companies were so small, even major comic book companies. It's nothing like they are today. So I could literally call up Marvel Comics and say, I would like to come by and interview people. I'm 16 years old. May I do this? And they're like, for sure. And like, I did. I got full access to DC Comics and Marvel Comics in Manhattan. But one of the places I went was Topps, but specifically Topps Comics. And I was interviewing the editor-in-chief of the comic line there at Topps, Topps did some, I don't know, they did some weird property comics in the 90s. Like, they did Zorro. They did a few other things. But when I was there, I was really excited because there was an Alex Ross original. Alex Ross is one of the most famous comic book painters of all times. There are painters who paint comics, and Alex Ross is the most famous of them. And he had a Xena warrior princess painting that was kind of up on the wall, and because they did the Xena and the Hercules comics as well. But one of them was the Atom Bomb Garbage Pail Kid painting. And that was when I found out that Garbage Pail Kids were created and originally drawn by Art Spiegelman. Yes. All right. For those of you who are not like comic book nerds, Art Spiegelman is kind of as close to comic book royalty as you can come. He was the creator of Mouse, which is this world-renowned, unbelievably pivotal graphic novel series about the Holocaust.
Stuff. Yeah, and heavy stuff.
It is taught in schools across the world. Mm-hmm. He's one of the greatest comic book creators to ever exist. And I didn't realize he was the creator of Garbage Pail Kids. So I'm going to talk about my experience. I'm going to go back to when I'm a kid, and then I want to hear what you guys have to say. So Garbage Pail Kids, I never liked them. When I was a kid. I have a low tolerance for gross out humor. I just kind of do. I'm not huge into scatological humor or just like I'm not into gross in general, which is one of the reasons why Nothing But Trouble totally scarred me.
Is that why you picked this, John? Because you thought those two characters, Nothing But Trouble, were like the Garbage Pail Kids, and it reminded you of this?
No, I just thought it was geek. I thought it just kind of fits in the realm of kind of us and culture, and I thought it was a bad movie, and I just thought people would enjoy discussing it. I thought it would lead to good conversation.
And I hope it does. Now, Garbage Pail Kids, where it came from, was a satire of Cabbage Patch Kids. Mm-hmm. And Art Spiegelman's idea was that that's what it would be. It would be edgy, and it would push envelopes, and it would be hilarious, and it would be disgusting, and it would just be a skewering of youth culture at that time, specifically like little kid toy line culture. It's totally out of Mad Magazine and that era and that sensibility, and I hated them when I was a kid. They just roast me out. In retrospect, I mean, they are very subversive. They're very clever. They're very well drawn.
I'm surprised you didn't like them. I understand they were gross and everything, but like, and I'm not, a fan of like comic art, but I always thought the art was like exceptional. I thought it was some of like the best kind of like comic art ever.
Yeah,
I mean it's a lot of snot and vomit, sure. But I mean it's still like
I just good. Wasn't. I mean,
I was not amateur hour.
Yeah, I wasn't the right kid for it. And I appreciate them now a lot more than I thought I would. Like, I'm just going to talk about John, can you throw up a picture of the Atom Bomb Garbage Pail Kid while I'm talking about this? Like, these were not stupid renderings. Like, the Atom Bomb card shows a kid who's smiling, sitting there with a little remote control, pressing a button, the red button on the remote control, while the top of his head is exploding and a horrific mushroom cloud is billowing out, bathing the entire image in a disgusting, horrific red light. It is one of the most disturbing images I have ever seen in my life, and it was marketed to fucking 8-year-olds.
Yeah, well, the 80s was a different time, right?
Can I jump in real quick? While I was looking for this, the artwork, and I'll have it up in 1 second. But I came across they're selling these on eBay, and the prices vary. But you know what the top asking price that I just saw is?
What's that?
$55,000.
Oh my god!
I probably had 5 of them.
Are you talking about the card or the original art? Yeah. Is it the card or the original?
No, it's the card. It's the card.
Wow. Yeah, look at that thing, everybody. I mean, did that image live up to what I was talking about?
I think so. I mean, to each their own, but man, I'm digging that. I think that's cool.
So, like, I am too. Like, it is incredible. Like, these are,
and they weren't all gross.
They market these to,
they were
kids.
Yeah, they weren't all gross too. There were some of them were just weird and bizarre and maybe edgy, but yeah, I mean, that's an iconic artwork right there, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So that's my experience with Garbage Pail Kids. I hated them when I was a kid, and I did collect a few. They were scary to me, and I think rightly so. They were disgusting, and I didn't like it. Looking back at them now, I can see how edgy and subversive they were, and I'm utterly surprised they exist. I'm glad they do, and I'm pretty impressed, as one would be by Art Spiegelman, one of the great artists of our time. So, John, what's your history with them?
I just really dug them. I mean, I have a history with Coleco, who was the company that made Garbage Pail Kids, because my uncle was an art director. You know, they had a headquarters in West Hartford in Elmwood, over by where Jules lives now.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Or maybe you didn't know that. That was
you didn't know pretty early. Coleco is the Connecticut leather company.
I did know that. Okay, no, I remember.
All right.
Yeah, and they had a thing, and my uncle was one of the art directors. A funny thing is, my cousin, he used it because he was an art director. He used him in a lot of like Coleco stuff for like when they had like there was like a Cabbage Patch Kid dollhouse, and on the box was kids playing, and one of them was my cousin. And they had I'd go to Toys R Us all the time, and I'd just see my cousin on all these things by Coleco. So. We were one of the first kids to have a fucking ColecoVision and all that stuff. Some of my girl cousins, I have a zillion cousins, and the girls got Cabbage Patch Kids when mothers were fucking slitting people's throats to get them for their kids. I was
like so many parents killed each other at G Fox in those days.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. You saw fucking. Like you'd see a mother cut somebody, man. It was rough times. Yeah, they were like gangbangers back then for getting their kids Cabbage Patch Kids. But I remember that whole frenzy and all that stuff. So when Garbage Pail Kids came out, I was really kind of drawn to them. I like collecting them. And I think I was telling my son this. I think the last moment where I ever actually held a Garbage Pail Kid card was when my son was born. Somebody his name is Ian, and somebody gave me a card.
It's a good name.
It was P and Ian.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. Yeah.
And yeah, I remember. I think that was the last time I held like a card. I forget who gave it to me or how it came about it, but it was like, oh yeah, P and Ian.
So, Jason and Jules, how about you? Did Garbage Pail Kids, the product,
let me go on a swift tangent for no reason. Jason, can you explain to me? So what we have is the Connecticut Leather Company, Coleco. Also,
I'm not familiar with that whole thing. I did not know that.
There's a Connecticut Leather Company is making ColecoVision and the Coleco Atom and trying to get into computers. There's the Tandy Leather Company in Texas also getting into computers. What is going on? Why?
I know, because
where they're just like, fuck leather, let's make computers. I mean,
the first computer I had was a 286 Tandy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the Tandy Leather Company.
And I had no idea ColecoVision was a leather company and from Connecticut. But because I go to those computer shows where I sell electronics and computers and stuff, there's a guy who always has a table there with vintage video games. He has like a whole display of it. I know where you can get a ColecoVision if you want one.
I used to have a basement full of Coleco Atoms. It was wall to wall.
Adams, the Atom computer.
That's
now
right.
we're getting into this. Now we're getting into some geek shit here.
Yeah, we are.
I remember.
All right.
Yeah. So.
Oh, by the way,
and I just gotta explain what that is real quick.
Sure, quick, and then we have a comment from Albert. John, you were saying?
The Atom for what the Atom I thought it was hysterical. They thought like if you got this like adapter and pushed it into your really shitty gaming console, you could make a computer into it. And they had like a fucking printer that never worked, and the fucking computer never worked, and it didn't do anything and everything. And I think that was the nail in the coffin for Coleco. I think they're back to selling leather shoes now.
That's the thing. Like, I don't want a Coleco Vision. I want a Coleco belt. Like, I'd really like a belt or a nice pair of shoes from Coleco. Like, all of my leather work is all done by Coleco. Albert says, it occurs to me, he's talking about Garbage Pail Kids, like the point of this podcast. It occurs to me that they were fantastic for growing a kid's vocabulary. I don't think I started using the word corroded until Corroded Carl. Oh, God, I don't even want to know what that card looks like. But I kind of do.
John, can you get that card up?
He's working on it.
Which one is it? What is it?
Corroded Carl. I'm imagining a boy whose skin is dissolving in toxic waste. No, that would be like Toxic Terry, right? I don't know. All right. While this is getting looked up, all right, we're gonna take a crack at this movie. All right. Garbage Pail Kids opens in a way that hurts me, not because it's terrible, but because, like, I'll explain. So when I was a kid, I wanted to make a Dungeons and Dragons movie because I wanted to make movies and I liked D&D. So my idea was the movie would open with a bunch of kids playing D&D and rolling dice and saying magic missile and stuff like that. And then you would get absorbed into the world. You see, your movie is really this kid's D&D game. Everybody's with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's lame as fuck. All right? This is the way Garbage Pail Kids opens. You see a garbage pail that's also a spaceship flying along through space. And then a card that looks like a Garbage Pail Kid card will spin up on the screen, and it will show one of the characters in the movie, setting up that, see, this is the universe of the Garbage Pail Kid cards. Is that kind of connected to my stupid idea when I was a kid? Maybe not, but it was enough that it hurt, that memory of that terrible idea. So I'm going to throw a bone to pick right now. So first of all, these cards fly out of space, kind of like in the Superman opening, and they say the name of the character. Yeah?
I got to stop you there because this was the second funny thing that I heard. So at the beginning of the movie, there's a garbage pail flying through space with with thrusters on it, right? Then when this movie starts, that's during the opening credits. When the movie starts, I'm assuming that it's that same garbage pail as in this antique shop. And nobody explains how it got there, and it's just
I was like, I'm going to give some credit where credit is due. I was expecting a spiel of exposition explaining where this is going. Like, the Garbage Pail Kids came from space and they crashed on Earth 40,000 years ago.
The man from an antique shop found the can and just happened to know what it was and made sure it stayed sealed.
Yeah, like, reminiscent of another property remake, Super Mario Brothers, the movie. I was expecting that, and they're like, nah, we're just going to jump right into this. Okay,
and it's been so long, I was in denial. Well, first of all, this thing with the cards flying out of the pail, it goes on for 2.5 minutes.
It's a really long time.
It's insanely long. And I was in denial.
They had to promote the cards.
You mean besides the major motion picture?
Yeah. But I was in complete denial. I thought that this was somebody else. Captain whatever. What the fuck is his name?
I'm gonna look it up right now. Hold on. It was Captain Manzini.
Can I interrupt really quick? You guys wanted to see a picture. You wanted to see a picture of Corroded Carl?
Yeah. You're gonna throw it
All right. I picked up a picture of Corroded Carl, and hang on one second. It's I got it. 1 second. Give me a second.
All right. Well, while John's doing this,
it's here. 1 second here.
Okay. I know this is really interesting to those of you listening to the podcast right now. Like this is the most exciting.
All right, that's the wrong one. Right. My bad.
Okay.
That's Carl Mefford.
Charles Mefford, Rare Earth Comics artist extraordinaire.
What the hell?
John, do you have the image? Or are we just stalling right now? Are we just running the clock?
Anyways, so I was in complete denial that this is. There we are.
Oh God, it's worse than I thought. Like, yeah, but isn't it kind of almost exactly? No. Oh, Corroded Carl is a young boy in overalls that's covered with acne like it's the plague, and he's he's just horrible. Oh God. Okay, I'm gonna look away and I'm gonna move on. Like, I couldn't handle this stuff when I was a kid, and I can't handle it now. I mean, Art Spiegelman did a fantastic job. It's just like, I just can't deal with this. And I can't deal with this movie. So you were saying that you thought it was like, Jules, am I reading this right? You thought someone created this over the movie as a joke? Is that what you thought? This opening with cards flying out of the garbage bin?
No. It was just that when the actors went by, I blew off the fact that this is, and this is also vague. I haven't thought about him in
he's popping a
forever, but Anthony Newley is a big deal when he's in this movie. He wrote the lyrics to Goldfinger.
What?
Who did?
Anthony Newley, the guy who plays Captain whatever.
Captain Manzini. Back when there was a gold standard.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Yes, bringing it all back home. Yeah,
it also back to the gold standard.
Also, there's a wonderful recording of him singing it. That's really good. He also was the Artful Dodger in the original David Lean Oliver Twist.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
God, so, he needed a damn paycheck.
He sure did. And so now we have the explanation of the Dodger character's name, I presume.
Oh, that's right.
I was like, what are they getting at here? Because it didn't really.
Yeah, all right, guys.
We didn't address it.
We're gonna try this. We're gonna try, and I'm gonna try, everybody. I'm gonna try to plow through this movie with like a dump truck.
Mm-hmm.
And get through it, and then we can just talk about what weirded us out or what we thought. So here's the deal. The movie opens with a young boy of about 12 to 14 years old running through a park being chased by adults. Straight up adults.
And one of them was Johnny Cage.
Oh, thank you. I was going to say he was being chased by Johnny Cage.
This guy was Johnny Cage
from Glow. That's what it looked like.
And I can't overstate this. It was the worst image you could ever see. It was like, this is a 14-year-old kid being chased by a 30-year-old Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
In the day, in a busy park with people around,
in like Golden Gate Park or something like that. They're running, and he's running for his life. Like, listen, and then they're running, and then they get to like a little bridge, and out pops a 36-year-old villain, like this guy, and he's named Juice. And I'm going to say this right now. Am I the only one who thinks Juice is really fucking cool?
No, I don't. I think he looks like an older Harry Styles. He even dresses like him.
He does,
and I'm like bully Harry Styles.
Yeah, he takes up his glasses. He's got a cool eyeliner on. Every time Juice is on screen, I'm like, that guy's fucking cool.
Yeah, like, because our present day gangsters who are more or less just mimicking a historical form at this point. Note that none of them brag about like beating up kids in a park for their lunch money.
They really are.
He goes there. He doesn't,
what I want to note right now is these grown adults are spending so much energy to get like this kid $6.
And I'm fast forwarding like through the movie, but basically all these bully gang 30-year-olds do is chase this kid, catch him, like beat him up, let him go, and then chase him again, like
And
later
beat him
that
up
day
again.
or the next day. It's like,
Like,
oh
what's
yeah,
happening?
you know,
Like,
they're just always
can we
chasing
establish, John? Can we establish that these people are career criminals? Like, Juice is a criminal. He's the leader of a criminal gang. His partner Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat is also a criminal. His girlfriend Leatherprint is also a criminal. This is their life. This is their livelihood.
Blythe or something. Their names are also crazy. One of the girlfriends' name is Tangerine. There's Tangerine.
Yeah.
And
Tangerine.
Juice.
No, we're gonna get into Tangerine.
Tangerine is dating Juice.
The names are Juice, Wally, and Blythe.
Blythe? Right.
These are career criminals who didn't go to knock off a liquor store. They went and took $6 from a 14-year-old.
I gotta think that if you're a career criminal, if this is your livelihood, you are wasting so much of your time and energy on this kid. You could,
but not only that. I mean, but not only that. It's like, what 14-year-old has any fucking money? It's like
none.
They're so pathetic.
They already robbed him.
Like the only people they can rob is like
more money.
The only people they could rob is 14, not any just 14-year-olds, just this one particular 14-year-old.
This one is like
because he works at the antique
get out of Major League Baseball right now. They are not good at crime. But yes, they grab him, they rough him up, they lift him up, they take his money, they throw him into into the river. And now Juice's girlfriend Tangerine thinks this is a little much. Not so much, a little much. She's like, come on, Juice, don't hurt the kid.
She's still pretty turned on. Yeah. Got to be honest.
So, the other one, not her, but the other one was like,
she was really
he's so hot he beats up kids.
Yeah. Oh,
she literally said that, right?
It's said out loud. It's said out loud.
Oh, by the way, Albert said they're half a Garbage Pail Kid name from achieving their final forms. Yes. All right. Now, Dodger, that is our kid. I like this kid, by the way. Like this particular child actor, I like him. I thought he did a fine job.
He did a good job. He did a good job with whatever this is.
Whatever the hell this thing is that we
do not think
he was not the problem with this movie. And can't we all say
neither was Anthony Newley, neither was
But can't we also say that here was my impression, and I got it like at the very end. I was like, you could take the Garbage Pail Kids out of this movie, and it wouldn't affect anything.
Nothing. Affects nothing in this movie. Yeah.
John,
we talked all about this. We haven't even mentioned the Garbage Pail Kids.
They're just the background to this nonsense.
Yeah. So Dodger, which I want to establish, make sure everybody understands this, is named Dodger because the other actor in the movie, Anthony Newley, who plays his boss, father figure, we'll get to that in a second, played the Artful Dodger in the original movie of Oliver.
Oh, very clever.
So they're like, this guy is so out of our pedigree, we got to make reference to it. Not dissimilar to when Uwe Boll made a whole bunch of fucking Das Boot references in House of the Dead. Because he's like, we got the actor from Das Boot. We got to mention that shit.
The same thing, yeah.
Do you think all of them got their names like somehow? Do you think like Juice was like, I don't know, in a Juice commercial or some shit?
And Blythe, that's just her name. That's, she's Blythe. What do you want? But okay, I'm trying to get through this. We're gonna get there. So here's the deal. Dodger works at an antique shop run by Captain Manzini, who is a magician. But when we say magician, we don't mean like Harry Houdini. He's apparently a real fucking magician who does magic.
He's a fucking wizard.
He's a wizard. He's a wizard, everybody. He's a wizard.
Do you know what it reminded me of? Do you remember that Rick and Morty episode where like the devil had like a store?
Yeah.
Summer is working for him. That's like kind of like what he would like curse all of those items and then Rick like had a shop across the street where he would like remove the curses.
It's very similar to Manzini's antique shop. Now, did I miss this detail? Does Dodger have parents, or is he an orphan?
They never get into a lot of things. I have so many questions. The least bit is his parents are.
Yeah, no, it's not addressed once. No.
Is it?
I was trying to figure out, is this the summer job? Sometimes it seemed like he was coming from somewhere else. Does he live somewhere else with his parents or something? And then we're just not. I don't know.
I have more pressing questions though. Namely, what the fuck are the Garbage Pail Kids? Because they don't.
John, if you're asking that, you're never gonna know. You're never gonna know because they're never gonna tell us. So here's the deal. So Dodger works at this antique shop with Captain Manzini. Captain Manzini he's kind of a character. He's not particularly old. He's a middle-aged guy who
British.
owns the antique store. He's a fucking wizard. But his time has passed. He's like, there's no magic in the world anymore. All my adventures are over. I just run this store. In the store of wacky antiques, there's a garbage pail that we know that we can't open. He's like, Dodger, you can play with anything you want here. There's guns, there's swords, there's poison. Do whatever you want. Just don't open the garbage pail. Got it. All right. Now, he then sees Tangerine, who is Juice's girlfriend. Can we charitably say Tangerine is 23? That's about her age, right? Early 20s?
Sure.
And Dodger is 12. He is smitten with Tangerine. And he's like, Tangerine, come on into the store. I know you like making cool clothes. I have stuff I can sell you. And so Tangerine comes into the store. She's a total douche to him. He's trying to show off cool antiques and metal beads.
Her boyfriend just beat the shit out of him. I mean, he's being pretty fucking nice.
Yeah. And then Juice and company come in there to beat the shit out of the kid again for no reason.
Right. They're just following him around. There he is. Get him.
Get him. Ah,
he just got me. 5 hours ago.
Rex in Jurassic Park. They're like, man, I want to get that guy.
What's weird about this movie is it actually has an enormous amount of kid logic. It feels like it's written by kids. This is, you know what I mean? It really.
Wow, that's a good point.
Because as a kid, you'd write a movie about adults beating up kids, even though the fact that doesn't make sense. But the idea would pop in your head, and you'd be like, "That's scary," and you put it in the movie or something.
Yeah, if you're 8, aren't you really worried about these these adults chasing you and beating you up? I could see that.
It's just it seems like it seems like it's written by kids with a pass by
weird
4th grade English teacher or something is get a little pass to be you should have some sort of theme about being beauty and ugliness or something, and you'll get a B.
and a major motion picture.
I mean, yeah.
So Juice and company are beating the shit out of Dodger, and in the process, they knock over the garbage pail. They then take Dodger, go outside, and Tangerine's like, "Please, Juice, don't hurt him." And he's like, "No, I have to."
But it's why? What did he fucking do? They don't explain it. Nothing. He didn't do anything.
Juice hates his youth.
There's a weird throwaway line about his code or something.
Oh yeah, it would be against my code.
It's moral ideology or something, or I don't remember.
Yeah. Oh no. That comes later. What did he do?
Nothing. So what they do is they open up a manhole. And I thought they were just going to drop Dodger in, but instead they all go in the sewer, and they knock Dodger out. They've now done enough violence to this boy that he's unconscious, and then they open up a sewer main to drown him in sewage,
which is awful. I mean, again, these guys are 30 and he's 14.
So then they're
trying to make it just be oh, he's got some school bullies. But literally, they could be his dad.
We're putting a pin on this because I swear I'm giving myself another 10 minutes on this movie, and then we're going to just talk. So the Garbage Pail Kids, then, who have been released from their prison phantom zone, go down to the sewer. They rescue Dodger. They bring him upstairs. Captain Manzini's like, "Oh no, you let out the Garbage Pail Kids. Oh, Garbage Pail Kids, don't you know? You are too disgusting for this world. This world will eat you alive. You need to go back in your prison pail." And he's like, "But I don't have the magic to do it." They then
wait. I gotta be specific. He's like, do you have any like bat wings or pheasant lips or something? No, I don't. Oh, then we can't put him back in.
Like, I guess we have to make them indentured servants, which is what they do. All right. At this point, the movie is basically cut up into a few sections. Captain Manzini is trying to figure out how to get the Garbage Pail Kids back in the pail. The Garbage Pail Kids are running amok throughout town having adventures. One of said adventures is they infiltrate a biker gang and become honorary members of the biker gang by getting into a fight in their biker bar, that bar which is called the toughest bar in the world. That's what's printed on the bar.
It's printed right there.
And that's kind of what the Garbage Pail Kids keep going out and having adventures, and people get grossed out by them, and they steal cars, and they fight people, and they eat food. An ongoing thing among these Garbage Pail Kids is one of them is Alligator, who's a human alligator, and he keeps trying to eat people, specifically their toes. All right? That's one subplot. The other subplot is Captain Manzini, keep trying to put him back in the pail. The other subplot is Tangerine. Oh, okay. The Garbage Pail Kids figure out that Dodger's in love with Tangerine. Again, he's 13, 12. He says he's 14. He's 12. They're like, you're in love with this girl. We know how we can totally facilitate this romance. Yeah. We will design outfits for you that she will think are cool.
It turns out the Garbage Pail Kids are really good sewers.
They're really good fashion designers.
Really good sewers, right.
Yeah, seamstresses and seamsters.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, totally. Wouldn't they be?
Yeah.
All right. So they make him like this cool kind of outfit that looks like Prince or maybe Sgt. Pepper. And Tangerine's like, oh my God, that's so fucking cool. You are the best designer in the world. By the way, she also has a side business selling stolen clothes outside of nightclubs.
That's weird. Isn't that fucking weird?
That was a weird scene, man.
You're just selling clothes outside of a fucking club?
There's so much sex in this film. There's so much sexuality in this film. Like, there's this scene. So she's selling all of this stolen clothes, like shoplifted clothes, outside of a nightclub. And she's being helped by Dodger. The 12-year-old's right next to her. And then the girl says, I like your shirt. How much? She says $12. And then she pulls off her shirt and hands it to the woman. I mean, she's got a bra on. But you got Dodger going like, oh my God, I'm so aroused. Like, did that seem weird? Anybody else out?
Yeah, all of this is fucking like, who? Did you ever go to a club and walk outside and there's somebody selling you clothes that they made? Like, who does that?
Wait, did she make them? I thought she just stole them. I thought she just stole them.
I think part of that scene was she explained she wants to be a fashion designer in New York or LA.
Yeah.
This was her ticket out.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we've got another comment by Albert. Albert, who says this movie is the script equivalent of George Lucas taking a child's cow drawing off a refrigerator and bringing it to life in episode 2 as a whole damn movie.
That's pretty astute, right
there.
That's
pretty astute, man. Albert's on point as usual.
As usual.
So, all right, now we got this. All right, Tangerine is like, these clothes that you just made, Dodger, are great. I need 12 a week. I need 12 outfits by Friday. And so then Dodger's got to feed the monkey. So he keeps going back to the Garbage Pail Kids. And
what was really messed up though, Ian, is when he was like showing some doubt, like, what, 12 by Friday? She became such a dick to him.
Oh, she was so mad.
She was like this kid can't make fucking 12 of these ridiculous costumes by Friday.
Yeah, I do want to. We'll go to commentary in a minute. All right, so that's our plot. Got the costumes, and also the Garbage Pail Kids don't know where their friends are. The other Garbage Pail Kids, like Adam Bomb, or Corroded Carl, because they are in the asylum for ugly people. Is that what it's hysterical? Yeah.
I have so many questions with this. I don't know where to begin. First of all, why do they get paid when you, first of all, like, what is up with this fucking town? Why do they have that? why do they get money for like bringing like, Jason has a recycling business. He gets paid when he like brings like metal and recycle things. Here, if you just bring them ugly people, the guards will hand you a wad of cash.
My God. Yeah. So they then.
And why is Gandhi in there? Why did you see Gandhi?
Was Gandhi?
If you stop it, Gandhi was in there.
John, let's get there.
And a clown. Why was what's
Because the clown was too skinny. They labeled all the cages.
It said too silly. No, they all had names. Like, so Santa Claus was there and it said too fat. And then just some random old guy there. It said too old. And then there's a clown. It says too silly. But what does that have to do with being ugly?
I don't know, man. So the Garbage Pail Kids make a deal with Dodger. They say, if you find our friends in the asylum or the prison for people that are too ugly, then we will, do this slave labor for you and make you these items so you 12-year-old can bang this 22-year-old woman. All right. That's the deal, right? That's why they're doing this, so that he can sleep with this 22-year-old girl.
Which is not fair, because any 14-year-old will like kill anybody to fucking get laid. That's just not fair. Any 14-year-old boy, if you give him a touch. But you've heard about this. This is even in the news. Did you hear about first of all, there's an epidemic with like hot blonde teachers fucking like students, right? But on the occasion, you hear about, the boy murdering, her husband or something because she.
Oh my God.
That's happened a few times. But it's like that kid, when those happens, shouldn't spend a minute in jail. It's like, it is not fair. Of course, if you dangle sex in front of a 14-year-old boy, they will shoot anybody. I don't know.
Oh God. And that's the thing. Like, I don't think I saw this movie. I think I wanted nothing to do with the Garbage Pail Kids. But I bet when I was like 10, if I saw that whole thing, I would have thought like, oh yeah, I hope this guy gets this girl. Like, it's disturbing. I really found this subplot disturbing. So anyway, this is going on.
She was kind of just like narcissistically just into her clothing designer fantasy and was just manipulating him the whole time and didn't really care about anything besides her goal,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, and that's the movie, everybody. That's what essentially keeps going. Eventually, Tangerine gets a fashion show at a major department store called Bundles. And I guess she can do that as long as she's got a collection. Like, this happened really quickly. Like, I've got clothes, now I get a fashion show.
And the Garbage Pail Kids wanted to go to the fashion show, but since she was into her own thing, she didn't really care that they were really the ones who designed it. And she wanted to take all the credit, so she like locked them in the basement of the antique shop, or she convinced Dodger to lock them in the basement of the antique shop. Then they break out of the basement and they go and ruin the fashion show.
Well, but before that, they get caught and they go to the asylum for
right. But because they had made friends with the biker gang at the most dangerous bar ever, or whatever it was called. All he had to do was just go into the bar and say, oh no, the guys are in trouble. And the bikers are like, all right. They all just immediately got up and rode their bikes over to the asylum and broke in.
Yeah, and they break the Garbage Pail Kids out. And that's where, by the way, in this asylum, as has been stated so far, there are cells, and all of the cells have a label which says like too old, too silly, too skinny, too fat. The too fat is Santa Claus. And then there's one where all the Garbage Pail Kids are in that say too ugly. Now, too
gross.
Oh, too gross, sorry. And I agree with them. Now, here's my question, because did I miss this detail? They never do find other Garbage Pail Kids.
You did miss the detail.
Because were they killed?
Yes, they were killed in the garbage truck in the compactor.
Oh my God!
It's a throwaway line by Captain Manzini or whatever.
Yes, he said that. I thought that was what it meant. the other Garbage Pail Kids were murdered.
Yep.
How could they do that? This is a kids movie.
There was already attempted murder in the earlier scenes. Then they just kind of escalated it to actual murder.
Do you realize
there are a lot of people who think that the present situation with kids' movies is the way it has to be. I don't. I think you can get completely off the rails if you want to in a kids' movie. As a kid, I enjoyed that a lot. It made it a lot more interesting. It made it very compelling to have these horrible things happening in kids' movies. So I think it's an important thing. But it's worth noting that every horrible thing in this movie that happens is happening for literally no reason whatsoever.
No reason.
I mean, it's not like the other. It's not like the other 80s kids movies that we can point to and be like, wow, I can't believe they did that in the kids movie. It's not even that because, I mean, there's generally a purpose to it in the story and the rest of it. But in this case, it's just like, it's a throwaway line. All the other ones were killed in a garbage compactor because why not?
God, that's horrific. All right. And so then the Garbage Pail Kids, they storm the fashion show, wreck it. And then Juice tries to beat up Dodger again. And then Dodger jumps on Juice and pummels the ever-loving shit out of him. I mean, just like, ba-bam, ba-bam, while he's crying and he's punching this guy in the face over and over and over again. And eventually Captain Manzini's like, all right, enough, and pulls him off after like 30 hits. And Dodger's just crying. And God, it was disturbing.
Well, this is the sort of thing we had to look at for how long was this thing? It was really long.
It was over an hour and a half. It was over an hour and a half. And so then Dodger kind of sticks, just he stands up to Tangerine and says, like, you used me, you used the Garbage Pail Kids, and I don't think you're pretty anymore. And she's like, oh no, this 12-year-old boy isn't into me anymore. He really hit my ego hard. And then the Garbage Pail Kids decide to leave and go out into the world and live their lives. And Captain Manzini says it might be safer for them to be in the pail, but you know what? They gots to be free. And they go free, and they get on their dune buggies, and they and that's the movie, everybody. I did pretty good, didn't I?
Sure.
Thank you.
I think you set a record for a brief recap. We're an hour and 7 minutes in. Usually we're an hour and a half in at this point.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate it. I'll take the praise. And at this point now, I'm doubling back. I'm going to double back. I'm going to talk about a scene that's so fucking disturbing, I can't even. I just can't even. So after the Garbage Pail Kids have rescued Dodger from the sewage drowning, Captain Manzini says, I think you need a bath. And he takes Dodger into a random room with a tub. And there's Dodger naked in the tub. There's bubbles. There's some suds. With all the Garbage Pail Kids around him. And Manzini has a towel. And at any time, Manzini could say, let's leave the room so the boy could dress. But he doesn't. He hands Dodger the towel while they all stare at him. And he has to get up and get that towel around his junk really quick. And everybody just watches him. That should bother everyone.
You know, if I didn't watch this whole movie, like if that scene started at the beginning of the movie, I'd be horrified. But like after sitting through everything I sat through, it's like you could show me anything and I'd be like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, I don't want to. I have other stuff I want to talk about, but I don't want to monopolize the conversation. Anyone want to jump in?
Does anyone know like about the actors who were in the Garbage Pail Kid suits?
Oh, thank you, Jason. that brings up a point, and I want to jump back to you. A thing that fucking pissed me off at the beginning of this movie, when those cards coming out of the garbage pail were giving and we're doing credits for everybody. When they came to the garbage pail kids, they just said the garbage pail kids' names.
Yeah,
they didn't say the actors. I'm like, there were people playing these people.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Jason. I didn't mean to steal.
I was just wondering if, like, I don't know. I didn't look anything up online. I was wondering if maybe you guys saw anything about the actors.
I don't know. I have their names, and by the way, in the end credits, they do say the actors who played them. Like the end, I will say right now, Debbie Lee Carrington is Valerie Vomit. Kevin Thompson, Alligator. I would say the best of the Garbage Pail Kids. Bobby Bell played Foul Phil. Larry Green was Nat Nerd. Arturo Gill was Windy Winston. Susan Rosetto is Messy Tessie. Yeah, those are our Garbage Pail Kids, everybody. Also, Lynn Cartwright was the fashion host. Who's Lynn Cartwright?
I mean, the people who were in those suits, man, I feel so bad. Can you imagine?
Everybody,
Jeez.
Stop for a second.
Hours at a time.
Lynn Cartwright, who played the fashion show host, is like this fabulous actor from the 50s. Like, amazing actress. She also played older Gina Davis in League of Their Own. Like, where are they getting these actors? My God!
So I got a fun fact for you. In 2012, Michael Eisner, who's the CEO of Disney Corporation, I don't know if you know, he wanted to reboot this.
In when?
Because
when?
In 2012, because a few years before, Disney acquired the Topps Trading bubblegum company. I mean, wow. Disney's a whore. The fucking company's a whore. You know, oh, we make money on it, you know, whatever. But because of like the bad reception to just the news of the thought of like remaking this, enough to.
Well, I mean, because it goes back to it's like when we had the Super Mario Brothers episode.
Huh?
You're like, the problem is the decision of making the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, completely.
We can talk about all the particular bizarre tangents this went off on and bizarre choices, sure. But the point is that, like, there's not a good way to make a Garbage Pail, kids movie.
No, there isn't.
You know what I mean? There just isn't. There's nothing there to make in the first place, and you're stuck trying to communicate the spirit of something that doesn't have like the story necessary for the movie, and you're just like screwed. So
I'll tell you what, this movie accomplished something that most of the movies we reviewed did not. Do you want to guess what that is?
What's that?
It made a profit.
Whoa, really?
It made a profit. They made this movie on $1 million budget.
That's exactly what I thought about this movie in the first place. It was a money grab.
Yeah.
Well,
they knew what they were doing right at that time.
Yeah, and it made 1.6 at the box office.
Wow. It's not a flop. It wasn't a flop.
No, it's not a flop. No, it made money.
Wow. Jules, I want to touch on something you said here, because I think there's an interesting thing with this movie in terms of the idea that the entire problem is that you decided to make the movie to begin with.
Yeah.
But more than that, there are like these random decisions that you make from the very beginning of the film that they just decide to double down on, and you can't even make children's television anymore because I'm going to say the main thing is having the villains be adults. All right. Like, the fact that the arch nemesis of Dodger, our 12-year-old, are all 20-year-olds. It ups the stakes incredibly because they can just kill him. They intend to kill him so often. And it just takes it out of the realm of what a normal child adventure would be. What they should have done, which I think we can all agree, is make them high school kids. You know, Dodger's a middle schooler. The villains are high school bullies. It puts them in the realm of possibility.
And if he was a middle schooler with a crush on a high schooler, that would have been.
Yeah, that's like. And every decision they make this way, it's like.
Yes, but what I'm saying is you're fixing the weird decisions they made in this movie, but you're not fixing the problem of how do you make a Garbage Pail Kids movie.
I don't know how I make a Garbage Pail Kids
movie.
I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to make a Super Mario Brothers movie. I don't know how to do this either. And
but
also,
the people who made the Super Mario movie didn't know how to make a Super Mario movies. But you got to remember, like, the hardest part of like making any sort of art is you have to do it by the standards of the people who are giving you money to make it. And they don't care if you're making they don't give a shit if you're making a good album. They don't give a shit if you're making a good movie. They care if they're going to make their money back and then they're going to make a profit. And so they're going to dictate to you what you're going to do.
I'm in no way arguing.
I'm not seeing studio interference in this one.
I kind of think like if studio was interfering in this movie, they wouldn't have had Tangerine take off her top. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but
it's this movie.
No, I think the biggest interference was they only gave him $1 million. Even back in '87 wasn't
that was nothing. That was nothing. All that gets you is a washed-up, artful Dodger.
And they didn't make a lot of money, right, from it. If they gave them $10 million, $15 million.
I'll tell you what a $10-15 million Garbage Pail Kid movie looks like. It looks like Nothing But Trouble.
There you go. You go.
When you have the money to put, and I'm sorry.
If only Dan Aykroyd made Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah, if Dan Aykroyd made a Garbage Pail Kid movie, it would be Nothing But Trouble.
Well, the Garbage Pail Kids in this movie did remind me of Slimer, kind of. Slimer was like kind of a ghost garbage. I think Slimer was a Garbage Pail Kid before he died.
Also, man, like those Garbage Pail Kids, no disrespect.
I could see that Slimer would appeal to the Garbage Pail Kid crowd.
Yeah. Like he was like Slimy Simon or something.
Sure.
And then
guys,
died.
Like, yeah. I don't want to be throwing shade at the production designers and the costume designers and the puppeteers. I don't even know what you call the people who make this stuff. Because with that budget, they couldn't do much. But God, you could have had
the mouths move. Like, how'd they do that?
What's that?
They made the mouths of the puppet heads move.
That's cool. I think
it was some. Yeah, no, they probably it was. They probably had to bite down on something inside their miserable suits to like make their mouths move or something. God awful like that. I mean, I can't imagine what those actors had to go in those fucking horrible things.
Oh, God, can you just imagine like actors
and all for this shitty film too? They're working like 16-hour days and shit.
Yeah, like you're working. You're going to the funeral of your friend Kevin Thompson, and then you say Kevin was a great guy. He was awesome. He was a great actor. He was really happy to get this role. But then he died inside the suit of alligator from asphyxiation for Garbage Pail Kids, the movie. Like,
and you know what? You know what the saddest thing is? Let's say the actor who played alligator died from heat. What am I looking for?
Heat stroke.
Heat stroke. Had a heat stroke, heat exhaustion, and died from the thing. I don't even think they would dedicate this movie to that actor.
They didn't say his name in the opening credits.
No. I know. Which is some bullshit.
I think for me, the hardest thing in all of our off-brand property adaptations so far, such as Super Mario Brothers and House of the Dead, barring Superman, like Garbage Pail Kids were actually inspired. Like Art Spiegelman had a tongue-in-cheek, sardonic, risque thing to say. I mean, these cards were satire. They were expertly done. They weren't stupid. Even though they were gross, they weren't stupid. And that transgressive feel, I mean, there's just no way they were going to translate that. There was no way they were going to make what made these cards interesting into this movie.
Don't you agree with me that not everything should be made into a fucking movie?
I agree.
Just the Garbage Pail Kids should be left alone.
It goes right back to
things happen. Wait. Let me finish. The way things happen now is if something has a set audience base, that's a key to throwing money into a movie. Like let's say we know there's 40 million fans of the Garbage Pail Kids. Why don't we put in $1 million to make a fucking movie?
Yeah, sure.
I have two things to bring up here,
and then Jason has a point to make.
Okay, Jason, you can go ahead, and then I can ramble.
Okay, yeah, no, like I'm with you on that, John. This was just a money grab. They capitalized on the popularity of the cards. Like you had mentioned in the beginning, it said Topps Chewing Gum Company in the beginning. They just wanted the money from it.
So the only movies I will say in the I think we're on 26 weeks we're going on now. The only movies that aren't money grabs that we done are Kirk Cameron and Neil Breen. All of mine. Those are the only non-money grab movies.
No, Rollerball was a legit movie. That was a legit movie.
And I don't think Knights of Newgate was a money grab. I think they miscalculated.
Knights of Newgate was definitely not a money grab.
Okay,
you got me there.
Does anyone have any final thoughts on Garbage Pail Kids?
Yeah, I got two things.
Jules, please.
One thing. We've completely forgotten the other trading card movie, and that's Mars Attacks.
Oh,
I love that movie.
Does it exist?
Because I believe, if I remember this correctly, I think Tim Burton literally bought the rights to the trading cards just to do it.
Just so he could do it, and something he would just own it. Yeah. What did you guys think of that movie? I've never seen it.
You've never seen it?
I like it fine.
It was great. I saw part of it, and there was like Tom Jones,
Yeah, they had all those around. You can tell they were just having fun. Like you can watch the actors and you'd be like, they had fun, and that's why it's fun to watch.
Yeah. No, it really is.
Okay.
It is close to as stream of consciousness as Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah.
But obviously with some discipline involved, but still it's like a kind of it's a really fun movie.
Albert says Mars Attacks was more fun than it had any right to be. As usual, you are correct, sir. Jules, you had a second point to make?
I got to look up the director. The director of this did tons of TV. He did the unaired pilot to Gilligan's Island. He did 100 episodes of the Dobie Gillis Show. He did a lot of George Burns episodes. He did something in 1979 called Son of Hitler. Which was
oh god, that's next week.
Sadly, only one episode of Super Train, some Dukes of Hazzard. Yes, this is literally the last thing he directed. He was obviously in complete elderly, not giving a shit mode.
Whoa.
So, yeah.
Crazy. All right. And with that, Jules, you do know you're up this week.
Am I really?
You are. Oh, you didn't know.
We could do, if you don't have one prepared, we can do Fireproof. That's in the chamber. Locked and loaded.
No, I'm gonna go with I know what to do. It's Fate.
What is it?
It's Fate. Do you want me to tell you now?
I do. I want to know. What is it? What are we watching this week?
It's Fate. The director of this did one episode of this. I don't know how we can find it. And based on the precedent of Missives of Science, we can do a TV pilot.
Ooh, I'm excited.
We're going to do Super Train.
Super Train?
Yes. Yes.
Didn't they spend like GDP level money on this train?
They did. They literally built out fantastic transit infrastructure in the United States and then threw it away.
I'm excited by this. A little backstory here. Jules has been talking about Super Train for fucking ever. Don't you have a book with designs from Super Train?
I do not have a book with Super Train. That's the book I have to write in my retirement.
Please explain what Super Train is.
So this is different than Snowpiercer, right?
It is.
Although heavily influenced by Super Train, I have to say.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
So I was thinking the world, what is Super Train?
No, Super Train was a bizarre late 70s TV show that was essentially, I'll give it away. It's really simple. It's just the Love Boat on a train.
The train.
That's what it is. But the train is a bizarre, futuristic, like 100-foot wide, 2 miles long, like cruise ship train. It doesn't. I don't know. That's why I'm saying we need to watch Super Train.
Is this a movie or is it a TV show?
It was a TV show. Yeah.
All right.
So
my next question. Wait. Very important.
Yes.
We know this is online because we've been on this road.
I will find it, or I will come up with a adequate substitute as is.
All right, because I went to my place where I have everything, and it's not there.
Can't find.
What's that?
One at a time, people. One at a time.
Because Jules, you and I have had the both of us seem to have the bad luck or the bad juju of just like trying to picking stuff that we can't find.
Yeah, where we're literally the world forgot, and then will forever. Yeah.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you for sticking with us through the garbage pail of life. I'm your host, Ian Alley Seals. This has been another episode of Dangerous Podcast. Next week is going to be the pilot of Super Train. I'm excited.
I found it. It's on YouTube.
All right. I found it. So check out our Facebook page. We'll have it up there.
Yeah. Everybody watch Super Train. You're not going to want to. You're not going to want to.
Not
gentlemen, it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you guys for coming. And good night, everybody.
Night.
How do I get out of this thing?
We don't know.
I don't know.